We're doing a regular stitch and a regular zigzag. The next one up, the number 3 on the green side, you can see it's like a bunch of dashes and then a V, and a bunch of dashes and a V. And that is our blind hemming stitch. So this allows us to hem using our machine. I'll show you how. So what we want to do is then pull this little lever over and pull it up so it's right next to the 3 and then release it. So now when I start sewing, it's going to go in this pattern where it goes stitch, 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 V, stitch, 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 V. So what that'll do is and it's always good to do a test run of this one before you do it, because how your stitch length is set will determine, and how your width selector is set will determine how it stitches, and you don't want to like mess up on your actual garment. So do a little test run. We can really use any of them. I like to use the number 3 because we can see more of it because that window's a little bit bigger. So I'm just doing a little fold-over sample here. Now, this is the little bit tricky part. So what you're going to do is, here's my garment right from the right side with my hem. What I'm going to do is, with the hem facing towards me, I'm going to grab the hem and the fabric with my fingers. So I'm grabbing the fabric as well as the hem. Okay. And then I'm going to fold it back like this, so I can see the inside of my hem right here. See that? Okay. And I'm going to keep folding it back until my fashion fabric is on top. Okay, so let me do that again. So I have it face down in front of me. I'm going to grab the bottom of the hem and the fabric, lift it up so I can see the inside of that hem, and then keep folding it back so I can still see the inside of the hem right here. And I folded back my fashion fabric. Okay. So now that hem, like if it was laying open, it would be here, but it's folded together, and I can access the inside of the hem. That's really important. Okay. Let me see, which direction are you going, machine? You're going that way. Okay, great. Okay. So what I've done is I've also given it a little bit of width. You'll need the width, otherwise it'll keep just sewing a straight line. You'll be like, why isn't this working? So make sure you have a little bit of width. And then what I'm going to do is put my foot down here, and I'm going to be sewing so that my first few stitches when I lower the needle are going to be over here on the back side of my hem. Can you guys see that sort of? So here's the back side of my hem, right? It's exposed now because of the way I folded it. And my needle, I can see that my needle is going to go into that part of the fabric. Okay. Okay. And then this is why you want to do a test always, because I don't know where that V is going to happen. There we go. So when this, there'll be like several stitches, and then it'll jump over one stitch, and then it'll come back and do several more stitches. So we want all those stitches to be on the back side of the hem, and then when it jumps over, we want it to take a little nibble out of this fold. And this fold is my fashion fabric. It's the outside, right? So then I kind of have to adjust where everything is sitting so that it can happen, and then I have to like visually create like a guideline for myself. So I'm like, okay, I know that it's when it jumps over, it's always going to kind of come at this point on the foot. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Some of these bites are a little bit big. So again, that's where we practice. Because if I change my width now, it's going to change how far over it comes. Okay, so you can adjust that and make it whatever makes it easy for you to remember.
You've lost your bobbin.
Huh?
You've lost your bobbin.
No bobbin.
Oh yeah, well, that happens too sometimes. So you can see here we have the stitches, right there. And then every once in a while it jumps over and takes a little bite out of the front of my fabric. Okay.
So some of those are too big, like,
Well, we'll see.
are you saying that they're grabbing
Too much?
too much of the fashion fabric?
Yeah, so that's
So
why
then
you
you'd have to
practice,
move
just
it
so you can
over,
kind of see.
or-
Yeah, you can either move it over or you can just like have a better gauge of where it is.
Okay.
So how I'm going to check it now is that now I'm going to unfold it like this, right? So here's the back of my hem. When I turn it over, that's the front of my garment. Okay. And if you're doing this with a matching thread, then that will help you determine, you know, obviously it's going to disappear a lot more. And that helps you determine if it's too big. And I think those are actually okay. If I was doing this out of on a garment and I was using the same color thread, that would be an okay amount. Right? It's a little bit bigger nibble than you can take with our hand needle, but it's good. It's nice and secure. It's not going to come out. So that's the nice thing about the machine one, is that once you've practiced it a little bit, it's very fast. So it's a lot faster. But it is a little bit harder to do sometimes on like really curved hems, because it's a little bit tricky to manage that and the machine at the same time. So it's a little bit easier to do hand hems on really curved hems. Make sense?